Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Just had some news through. The International Orchid Show at the Birmingham NEC. I do actually get exhibitor passes for me and Hannah. I'll be picking Hannah up on the way. There's two choices really, and it's purely geared up to the physical amount of driving for the weekend. It would be nice to go and get Hannah on Saturday and come back here and then spend Saturday together and then both get up and get going on Sunday morning from here and then drop her off home on the way back. But that's the extra is to go into Hannah's and back. Yeah? If I pick her up on the way on Sunday morning, okay, it means I'll have to leave earlier, but I only get, I drive to Hannah's and then there and then back to Hannah's and home. Okay, all the driving's done in one day, but that driving would have had to have been done anyway, so what I'd be doing is cutting out the driving on the Saturday. Yes, so it looks like we get passes to the exhibitor car park area, which is right next to the floral hall, because some of the other car parks are not right next to the floral hall. And then obviously we've got the day for the show. Now, I've been to orchid shows for years and years and years, and Hannah comes along to some of them, and she's not as interested as I am, and always Malvern has been part of her birthday treat, so I've paid for everything and all that sort of stuff, and this will be part of her birthday treat as well. And it's BBC Gardeners World Live. It's a floral show. It's a massive event. And quite honestly, I don't want to spend all day in the orchid bit. Yeah? So Anna and I will probably do the show. I'm not sure how much I'll film. Obviously, I'll film some stuff. I'll come back with some material to put together. Some of that will be orchids, I'm sure. But I won't be filming all of the exhibits and all of the traders. I won't have time to do that and still have a good look round the show and have an enjoyable day with Hannah for her birthday. So I'll come back with some stuff, and obviously I'll be filming some of the other things as well. We're all plants people, it's not some of us may only be interested in orchids, but most people that are interested in orchids are interested in plants in general and just specialise in orchids. So that's coming up, that's the 16th, Sunday the 16th. Obviously there won't be a Sunday chat on that day. But then our job, our reason for going and getting the passes is that we've got to pack Wessex Orchid Society's display up, which is a small display, but we've got to pack up all the orchids and everything and load them into my car and bring them back to me, and then first thing Monday morning I'll take them to somewhere else to be sent back to their owners. So that's the plan. And it's not far away. It did suddenly remind me when the email arrived from Lynn, oh, it's not long then. The only missing thing I think is for the exhibitor car park area you have to wear high-vis jackets, health and safety and all that cobblers, which I don't have. So I'm hoping somebody can leave some there for us and we can just get out of the car, get into the show. But we need them for the set down. During set down in the hall, people have got to wear high-vis jackets. I suppose it's because people are wheeling trolleys around and carrying stuff and not looking where they're going, all that sort of stuff. So those are necessary. But sounds like it's going to be a very busy day and a lot of driving. But as far as the driving is concerned, the actual total miles is not much further than going to Malvern. Used to be. And in addition to that, a lot of it is dual carriageway motorway. So the only slow bit is getting to Hannah's, but getting to Hannah's will be done early on Sunday morning. I don't have a horn for that time of day, it just goes, get away! But yeah, so we'll get that done. So that's good news. I'm not doing an orchid video as such today. I'm not in the mood to do much at all at the moment. There's just stuff playing on my mind for obvious reasons. I went for my ECG today, and the nurse said that that will get passed to a doctor. If there is anything untoward, then somebody will phone me this afternoon, which hasn't happened so far. I think this ECG was to see if the meds are heading in the right direction, which, according to my home blood pressure gauge, which I used again earlier today, and I got a reading of, it was 132/90. So that, you know, it's still perhaps a bit higher than it should be, but for somebody my age, that's actually quite a good reading. And that was an average of 3. One of the readings was 127/85, which would have been brilliant if it averaged at that. So I think my blood pressure has dropped right down. The ECG, they didn't take my blood pressure today, but the ECG hopefully is giving, you know, an impression of everything that's going on. Nobody's phoned so far. The results from my blood tests are available. The nurse could see them in my record, and a doctor will be phoning me Monday morning to discuss the results. Her expression was, because there are a few things that are borderline. Now, I haven't got a clue what that means. I'm hoping it's nothing more than my cholesterol is higher than it should be, and the fact that I've already got medication to deal with that, they'll let that run. A few things are borderline, so I can only guess what that means. We'll have to wait till Monday for that. So, yeah, so be it. And I think, what is tomorrow? Friday, isn't it? Yes, Friday. I think tomorrow's video, I'm going to attack that Cattleya. I've decided that it should have bloomed. I had a look at the date that I got it, and it was a good, strong, healthy plant when I got it, and I've had it nearly 2 years, and it hasn't bloomed. So it needs a kickstart. It needs something done. So what I propose to do to that tomorrow is split it. I'm going to divide it. So it'll come out of its pot, try and find some sensible places to get some divisions. What I'll probably end up with is around half the plant, a good sized plant sort of thing, and a couple of others which will grow on. Now that the, because that's a tall plant, and if it ever has spikes they're even taller, they can go up over 1 metre. But I've got enough room now to have multiple plants. So I mean, where the plant is now, there'd be room for 2 divisions in the same place that the main plant is now. So it's not like they're going to take up too much room. I was just going to say, what is that? A strimmer or a lawnmower or something. It's been raining on and off all day. My next big job in the garden, I want to get the shed coated up and get that piece of timber screwed in to actually hold the fence post in place, because that'll have to be stained as well with the shed. But we haven't had the weather. The weather may look like it's going to improve towards this weekend and maybe on into next week, but I need a few days of sort of guaranteed reasonable weather with some sunshine to dry the stain quickly in between the coats. So that hopefully might get done next week. That's not too strenuous. I mean, I've still got to take care with what I do, and until I get the go-ahead, no form of exercise or anything strenuous is going to get done. The diet's working well. I'm enjoying my eggs for breakfast, I must admit. But it's changed the whole pattern of washing up, because a couple of eggs, I only need a small plate. Well, I haven't got that many. I'm running out of a different sort of plates now. And I have some fish for lunch. I have Zero fat yogurt, I checked on that, and there's the only sugar in it is in the fruit. There's no added sugar. Somebody said, "Ooh, they're high in sugar." They are. Well, it's only got natural sugar in it because there's chunks of fruit in it. It's the only fruit I eat. I don't really like fruit. And then for my evening meal, I've got a variety of options, which includes some non-starchy type vegetables. So I still have some vegetables once a day. Yeah, so it's a totally different type of shopping. But there is a bonus in there. I'm cutting my wine. I've switched to decaf coffee as well. Checked the salt content in everything that I use, and most of what I use hasn't got any salt in it. I mean, I don't add salt to anything, so I'm okay on that front. So we've cut out the main things that have been cut out. Really, are the bread and the potatoes and other starchy things. I used to have peas with nearly everything, and they're quite a high starchy veg. So replace that with green beans and with some carrots or some broccoli. Yeah, so I've still got some vegetables in there somewhere. And at the moment I'm not having any rice either, because rice is a bit there's quite a few carbs in rice. But if I do have rice with one of my chilies or my curries, it'll just be a very small portion. But we've got rid of the bread and the potatoes, and virtually got rid of the wine. I'm going to limit myself to 1 bottle a week that will be done over the weekend, which means I've got 5 days that are completely alcohol free, which is good stuff. What on earth was that just came down there? Very strange. I'm sure a bird just landed down there, which I didn't recognise. Well, I can't see anything. It's disappeared. It obviously took off again and I didn't see it. There's some orchids in the way or something. Thanks again for all your thoughts on what to do about securing the Cymbidiums. But as the video shows, I've done what I'm going to do. I've wired them in place. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. So the problem is that most of the suggestions involved spending my money, which I haven't got. Extra timber for doing this, big clay pots to put them in. Where do they come from? I can't magic them up, can I? They all cost money, and I haven't got spare money. Really, I haven't got spare money. So I thought, the bonsai wire I've already got, the job's done, and it cost me nothing, and took me less than half an hour to do the job. So it's done. I've sacrificed the ability to pick the pots up to see how heavy they are for watering. Ah, that's what it was. Pigeon. Just had another go. Yes, so I've sacrificed the ability to pick them up, but I never did that in here. All I did in here, when they were in here, was look at the notes to say when I last watered them, and just have a think, have we had higher temperatures during the day, yes or no? And how long have they had since I last watered them? Oh, I'll give them a go then. Well, I can do that outside. But I mean, it's been raining on and off since they went out there, whenever that was, I've forgotten. So they certainly won't need watering. The only thing I'll have a problem with, obviously, is if we get longer periods of rain, they won't get any food, because I wouldn't want to pour another load of water in on top, because they'll be wet. But Insa was getting a bit worried about the amount of rain and would they rot. Well, as far as mine are concerned, they were all repotted relatively recently, so the media in there is relatively new and not breaking down. So the water should drain through adequately. Now obviously that might not be true next year when they go out again. So this time next year they might have needed a repot. And the other thing is with mine is when we get to spring next year, they'll have had a whole growing season, this growing season, yeah? And they'll have done their blooms and all that sort of stuff. There's going to be quite a few of them will have filled the pot. So they've either got to go in bigger pots, which is a pot on at the bare minimum, or a repot, or they get divided and repotted. So it's a whole different thing next year. But this year they're okay in the media they're in. It's relatively fresh, and it should drain okay. As we had some ridiculously long periods of rain last year. Then we had long periods with no rain at all and very high temperatures, which they will have to put up with. But hopefully this weather's going to break. Now the sun's just come out now, so they've still yet to get their evening sun. But we are talking about evening sun. It's not evening yet. I'm on about, after 6 o'clock type evening sun. So if the sun is out this evening at that sort of time, then I'll wheel them over into their place and they can get their first little bit of sun. In actual fact, the sun that's coming over the house now is touching some of those plants. We may have to rethink where they are. It's where the staging is so tall, and then the plants on top of the staging, they're quite high up. And the sun comes over the roof at that sort of angle. It's, missing the conservatory and lighting up some of the leaves, which means if the sun had been out midday, it would be touching some of those leaves, which is too much. So we might have to move them round the corner so that they really are out of that midday sun. But that remains to be seen. I'll have to just keep my eye on things and see where the sun is. The sun's at its high point now. I mean, we're only a few weeks away from Midsummer's Day now, so the height of the sun isn't going to change much for the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to stay in a very similar place. So once I sort out where these things need to be, then that will be where they are for the next couple of months. So there we go. Yes, this scare has put the wind up me a bit, I must admit. So I'm taking things incredibly easy, and well, that's all I can do. I seem to be under watchful eyes, keeping their eye on me. I've had more appointments now, including the phone call one and the one I'll get on Monday, than I've had in my whole life. That's literally how much I've been involved with the medical profession. I just haven't. It's had nothing to do with that. So I've been lucky so far. So there we go. And now I've got to think about the only thing that's changed is my thinking about my food, because my things like my chilli and my curry and my spaghetti type things, they're in containers in the freezer. So if I want one of those for tea, I get it out and put it in the microwave. That defrosts it and heats it up. It takes sort of 10 to 15 minutes, about the same sort of time as what was the rice and or the spaghetti. Yeah, so that was all quite well organised. Now a lot of the stuff that's in the freezer that I would want for tea has to be thawed out properly. So it has to be got out the day before. So I'm having to plan ahead now. I'm not used to doing that. If I want a nice piece of fresh fish, those were wrapped up individually and put in the freezer, that's got to come out the day before so that it's thoroughly thawed out by the time I need to cook it. So I'm having to plan ahead a bit now. So when it's tea time, I'm thinking about, and we need to think about tomorrow's tea time. Now, while I'm in the freezer, getting my veggies out. So different things, different way of working. Get used to it, it won't take long. And my next lot of shopping has been ordered. And it's a totally different shop now. I'm having trouble. The home delivery has got a minimum basket charge. If you don't spend £50, they add £5 on. I suppose it's geared up to, if you've spent over £50, there's enough profit in there to cover the delivery and everything. Something like that anyway. But I'm having trouble, because I haven't got wine in the order anymore, I'm having trouble getting up to 50 quid. And I'm not buying stuff just to do that. I'd rather pay the £5. But we shall see. But it's a totally different order now, going through, looking at it. But in a way it's a nice change. I was getting very staid in my diet you know, similar stuff. So that's where we are at the moment, not really any further on. I'm pleased with my blood pressure readings at home. And you know what, I nearly did a sneaky stand on the scales and check my weight. It's very difficult not to, but I'm going to stick to doing it Monday morning, so it's once a week. The problem is, weight can come up and go down, you know, depending on liquid, various things, you know. So unless you leave about a week between weighing yourself, if you weigh yourself every day, you're just not going to see the changes any sense. And some days it might even go up, and then you start getting really worried. So by doing it over a week, and this first week, it might not really show much change at all. It'll take a while for the interaction that's supposed to take place to actually get going. The idea being that with this type of diet is that you remove carbohydrates and sugar, and therefore your body has to make it, and it makes it by using the fat, the excess fat. So it's like my son said, all you need to live is protein and fat. As long as you've got those, your body will make all the other things it needs, like the sugars and the carbs and stuff. It will produce equivalents from those two items, and obviously water, or liquid. So yeah, so it might take a while for that process, you know, for my body to actually accept that that's what it has to do. So the first week's weigh-in might not be that dramatic. Who knows, it might have even gone up. We shall see. As I say, that's a new thing. My scales, I had to get the dust off of them because they just don't get used. So we shall see. It's all a bit of, well, I say it's fun and games. It's different. I wouldn't say it's fun and games. And I could do without the whole flipping lot, but we're stuck with it. So be it. And yes, I think we'll have an attack that big plant tomorrow, so obviously that'll be out here. I can't do that in the kitchen. I probably won't do that much of the kitchen time idea anymore. I've got to lug everything into the kitchen to do it, and clear some stuff off the counter that would be in the way. That's all got to be moved. It's quite a faff. Whereas out here, you know, my potting tray and my media is just there inside that door, and the plants are all here. So it does make life a lot easier doing it out here. And that's a big one, so there's no choice. So hopefully that's what we'll do tomorrow. And the channel has a quiet spell at the moment. One thing I did notice when I watered the pots, we do have some new spikes. The Shari babies come into spike, and the one that was labelled Shelob Tolkien, which turns out to be Shelob Marie, that's got spikes starting as well. So we do have some new spikes. And as far as this International Orchid Show is concerned, I've got nothing to take. Got nothing to take. The Black Comet and Midnight Star, they're starting to drop blooms now, so they won't be there in over 2 weeks' time. They'll be gone. The cattleya, the spike might still be there, but that's a rubbish plant. You can't put that in an International Orchid Show. The big dendrobium, if that went into the show, the blooming is very good. But the plant is not only an awkward shape, it's also quite big, and we've only got a small display. So I'm probably not going to put anything in. It also makes life difficult for me to put anything in, because it means I'll have to take it. I'll have to do a trip, literally, to probably only take one plant, so I probably won't. There's a cluster of people in the society that have always got plants to go in the shows, and they all live quite close together. So I'll leave it to them. When it's our own show, Wessex Orchid Society show, the plants are set up on the day. So I'm going to the show anyway, so if I had anything I'd just take it with me, and it's not a problem then. But you know, when the plants have all got to be gathered together for a show that's not ours, has to go somewhere else, it's a bit more inconvenient. So there we go. and the sun seems to be coming and going, so the plants might see their first bit of proper sun today. We shall see. I'm looking forward to those orchids getting what I hope is the best treatment I can give them this year. The reason being that I hope I get the best blooming I can get on those plants this year. Now, a couple of the plants are still quite young plants. Cymbidium, a small division of a couple of bulbs really takes 2 to 3 years to come into its own. It might bloom, you know, the second year on the first new growth, but it's not a mature plant yet. And a couple of mine, you know, they are mature plants now, and they should produce a good number of spikes. I doubt if any of them will produce spikes at the time we've got a show. That would be too much to ask, wouldn't it? Anyway, enough waffling, and I will see you tomorrow probably for the repot, and then we'll go from there. So see you next time. Bye for now.